Well, hello out there, and welcome. I am so happy you are here and joining me on this recording. My name is Oliver Blue, and I am super excited tonight. I am in a moment of, I guess you might call destiny. But welcome, and thank you for viewing this from wherever you may be viewing it. Something attracted you to this, and I'm embarking on a project that I've been wanting to do for many years, and just give you a little backstory. Um, Back in 1987, I I had this incredible experience, and it was at a time in my life when I was seeking answers. The why answer, or the what answer, I guess you might say. What is it? What is it? What is it all for? What is it all about? The who question, who am I? Why am I here? All those who, what, whys, when. And I was at the age of, I think I would have been at the age of maybe like 26, 27, 28 maybe. And as a result of me asking the question, I was directed to go back to my roots. And my roots was I was born, in a family that my parents were practicing Christians. And so, of course, it's quite natural that they're gonna introduce Christianity to their children. And so, growing up, I was raised in a Christian home, and we all attended a Presbyterian church, and that's where we were introduced to this idea about God and religion. And we used to walk to church because it was within walking distance from our home. And that's where I got my first conscious awareness that there was something beyond my awareness of my individual identification, and that there was something responsible for that. So the concept of God was introduced to me in that vein. And so I grew up in the church my whole time that I was living in my parents' home, and then off to school I go, and then when off to college I go, and then when I go to college, I wasn't as regimented as attending services and all, but eventually, I totally just kind of went away from the practice, and this is something I did irregularly when I felt an urge to reconnect. But anyway, in the process of time, I got married, had my first child, and it was right after I had my son that and began to look at what have I done here? I brought another human being in the world, and I'm responsible for mentoring this very vulnerable human being. And so I began to, I was really afraid, because I was really afraid of having that responsibility. And so I began to have these inner conversations about hey, what are you gonna do here? What are you gonna be here? Eventually you're gonna have to mentor your son. And so as a result of all that, I began to turn back to my roots. So I went back and started reading this book. It's called the Bible, and just trying to find some answers. And just so happened that one night about 2 o'clock in the morning, I was reading over in Matthews, and I think it was chapter 5, chapter 6, verse 33, I believe, and it talks about you are the light of the world, and that a light does not, you don't take a light and put it on a candle, put it on a bushel, but you put it up on the candlestick so everyone can see. And that I was supposed to let my light shine, that the whole world could see it, so that there would be a witness that life is real, that God is real. And that hit me at the very core of my existence, like nothing else before. And it resulted in this just overwhelming feeling of love and divine presence. I can't explain it. It just happened that way for me. I was at home in my bed, wasn't in a church, and so it was a one-on-one experience with, I can't define it, can't explain it, but it was an awakening for me. And so for the next 3 years, well, this would have been 87, 89. Well, I would say for the next 3 years, I just became committed to studying the Bible and began to practice Christianity again. And back in 2005, something happened. I went to a afternoon church service at a church that one of my family members was attending. We got invited, my wife and I, and so we went over there, and there was this lady there. I can't remember her name. She was a guest speaker, and her name was Judy Baldwin. That's what it was. And Judith began to share her message, and the message that she shared was like that experience I had 8 years prior, when my very core got not shaken, but it was there was this presence that came in the event of her speaking. She began to speak and say things that I had seen, thought about, contemplated, that was in the Bible, that was really beyond what I had experienced or seen, in the religious community that I was hanging out in. And it just shook me to the core, because it bared witness to some things that I had questions about, and it was almost like she connected all the dots for me. And in her message, she mentioned this book. And the name of the book is A Course in Miracles. And she referenced the book in terms of, that was the path that she was using for her spiritual practice. And I was so impacted by what she said, and that I immediately went out the very next day, bought the book. And this was in 2005. And for the next 17 years, I studied that book. I mean, really studied it inside and out. Read every page in the book. And I listened to one of the teachers of the book that helped me to better understand what it was saying. And his name was Wapnick. He's not with us anymore. The book was actually published in 1977. If you get the book, you'll notice that there's no author that's written on the cover of the book, because the way this book came about was very unusual. And the two people that collaborated to bring this what I think is probably one of the most, to me, one of the most fascinating, dynamic piece of literature that has ever reached this planet. And so, for the next 12 years, I just studied this book, and I didn't just study the book. I began to be totally transformed by its content. A Course in Miracles is the name, and if you think of that in traditional sense, you would think it has something to do with the supernatural, from a religious standpoint. But uh, that's not what I found it to be. What I found it to be, and this is me, I found it to be a gift from heaven, a gift from love, a gift from that presence that I sensed and I felt, on those two occasions. Love itself. It was a gift from love. It was and with the that contained all that I needed to become aware of all the answers to all the questions that I have ever asked, where it concerned my identity, where it concerned my relationship with humanity, my relationship with the physical creation, and my relationship with that which is responsible for all of this. I realized that one that is breathing all of us was not just close to me, but was the very me, myself, my very being. The expression of that. So, as a result of that, 2017-18, I met up with a young lady by the name of Lisa Natoli, who was a Course in Miracles student also, and she was, and her husband Bill, part of a ministry they created called Teachers of God Foundation. And I joined with that community because for those 12 years of me studying the Course, other than with my wife and one other friend, I just didn't have an outlet for it, a way to share it other than to live it, to be it, to study it, and to practice it, and to be it. That's what I did. But did not have, I wasn't involved teaching it or anything at that level. It was just for me. I understood it was for me, my transformation. But lo and behold, in 2018, I met Bill and Lisa and started just hanging out in their community because they were their main source of spirituality was A Course in Miracle, and they were teaching. And I just began to hang out in that community, and eventually, because of these lovely people, I had an opportunity to share in some of the different events and activities. Not as a speaker, but just share in the small group conversation. But eventually, it eventually evolved into me being asked to speak at a few of the conferences, and I began to gain confidence about sharing this information. So it gave me an outlet now to share what I have been studying, investigating, practicing for over 12 years. And then here I am now with enough confidence to do what I wanted to do a long time, and that is to begin to teach, become a teacher of A Course in Miracles. And so tonight is the beginning of this journey that I am embarking on to begin to teach what the Course is saying, to share it in the way that is a unique expression coming from me. And But the course needs no interpretation. Pretty plain, very raw, and very direct, and it doesn't need interpretation. But what I just want to do is put it in a format and structure, in my expression, so that I can share it with those who resonate with my expression. And I think it's going to be a blessing to those who engage with it. It changed my life. It's just a book. Okay, it's just a path. It's not the book or the path. It's just a book. So I'm not worshiping the book. That's just the form it came in. And but I'm just here to share the ideas, share the reality of its message, because I think its message is real. And I am the witness of that. And one thing the course taught me is that, it is in the doing, it's in the practice, that you come to discover that these ideas are real and eternal. So tonight is the beginning of my journey of sharing from the Course in Miracles. And this could take the rest of my life to do, but I'm going to do it. And hopefully along the way, I help someone wake up to a reality that is life-changing for you. So come join me on this journey. And I don't have any structure for it right now. I'm just going to start. We're just going to roll with it. So join me. And probably the first couple episodes is going to be somewhat of just an introduction to the book. Again, it's called A Course in Miracles. It's you can order it online from Amazon, or you can get it from Barnes and Noble. It comes in two forms. You can get a paperback for about $20, or you get the hardcover, the blue book, for $35. And there's another version of it. It's called the purple book. And the only difference is that it has some original documents that was left out of the original book. But this is mine. Been had this book since 2005. Yes.